Right then, so we're just going to catch up with one of our amazing clients, Sarah. She's just come off the back of 12 weeks training with us, and she dropped an amazing 20 pounds during that 12 weeks. So, Sarah, just quickly, can you give us a little bit of a background about what you do for a job and what you were doing prior to before you signed up with us?
Yeah. Job-wise, I'm an account manager, so I spend a lot of time office-based, sat at a laptop or driving to customer meetings, and so constantly eating on the go. Life is a bit busy, chaotic. Weight has been gradually piling on. I'm quite tall, so I always felt I could carry it off quite well, but clothes were starting to become tight. I have been going to the gym, but didn't really know what to do. And dieting, I kind of just did tried Weight Watchers, tried a few other bad diets, and nothing really seemed to actually stick. I'd lose the weight and then put it back on. So I just seemed to be in this vicious cycle. So I wanted to do something where I could lose weight, but feel like I wasn't constantly on a diet either. I think I'd said to you many times, the Weight Watchers counting points was just a nightmare in the end, and for myself and my other half. So hence why I got in touch with you guys.
Awesome. Anything you want to put in there, Chris, quickly before we move on to the next bit?
So I'd just say, one of the things we set our theory of a program on is how the person works, so how the individual works. So Sarah, both of me and Rob spoke to you quite early on in your process, and we kind of realised that your personality was going to match up very well with Rob's, which is why obviously Rob did the majority of your coaching. So how did you find Rob's kind of approach to you? How did that work for you?
Oh, it was really flexible. We started off with looking at calories by day and having that as a target, which worked really well. And then I think we went midway through, we went a bit off, changed it to having low and higher days of calories. And that really, I didn't really get on with that at all. So after a week of not really liking that, we changed it again. So it was kind of trial and error, which worked. When we changed it again was just, that seemed to be the real green light for me, where it just all seemed to click together. And yeah, we just worked really well.
Awesome.
And then, so if we kind of went back prior to when you started working with us, just run over just a few diets that you've tried in the past then that you kind of always, whenever you wanted to lose weight, what was your always go-to protocol?
Oh, it was always cutting out rubbish that I couldn't eat. There was always that list of, right, no chocolate, no crisps, all junk food out, kind of going to the absolute extreme and not really eating that much at all. So you'd end up starving and then doing the whole binge eating at the weekend, because you'd end up going out for a few drinks and going, forget it, we'll start again on Monday. So it was just that vicious cycle of not ever knowing what to actually do.
Yeah. And do you think that's because you were kind of exposed to when you did want to lose weight, you thought that was something that you'd always been exposed to, and that was the only kind of way that you could actually really lose weight?
Definitely. Yeah, it was all about, and you hear, you work with people that do Weight Watchers, Slimming Worlds, and it's all like, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. And that whole, cutting things out and having, it was all about eating healthy, supposedly. Rather than, I'd never really heard of calorie deficit. So that was the key thing, really. Yeah,
and that's one of the things that we always try and get across, isn't it, Chris, that really having the kind of the mentality when you start cutting out food groups, when you start trying to do all these unrealistic things to lose weight, they're okay for the short term, but then really when you start going back into so-called normal life, when you've got to your target weight loss, ultimately what happens is people just go back to this weight place and they start eating them foods again, and then all of a sudden the weight starts piling up. So do you feel like, what's the turning point with you when you work with us? Then how do you feel now that you're going to kind of want for a better expression, go back into the real world and start fending for yourself, so to speak? How do you feel now about the process about keeping weight down, losing weight, that kind of thing?
I definitely feel like the way I've done it is sustainable in the future. I definitely feel that it's not been a burden to even track my calories or anything else. It's something that I can carry on doing and be quite easy. I think the great thing is we're quite sociable people, so it's been really lovely to be able to have that bigger deficit in the week to counterbalance anything like a few drinks at the weekend, and know that in that week I can still actually lose weight if I wanted to. We had a quick chat about going into maintenance calories just before we started recording, and I said it's actually quite difficult to start eating like that amount of calories again. It's like, wow, it's quite strange, but no, it's I think it's the workout, the fitness, the steps, everything that goes with it. It's just having a different mindset to how I've tried to lose weight.
Yeah,
before.
adopting that kind of that different lifestyle as well, isn't it? I think that's really key to kind of like having that long-term successful weight loss.
I'd just like to ask Sarah, because obviously women that were watching this are probably starting a very similar situation to what you did. Like, how long was that going on for you, that kind of chasing the Weight Watchers, chasing that kind of ideal weight, that ideal diet? How long did that go on for?
It's got to be probably 10 years, where I've like been on Weight Watchers, dropped the weight, felt great, and then, it would creep back on, and then you try something else, and just constantly in this, never being happy with, you'd lose the weight, and then, the creeping of it would go back on. And I think you sometimes, I think I'd always got into a bit of a routine of going to the gym and like doing absolutely loads of cardio, thinking that was going to be really good rather than actually doing some weight training, which, it's opened my eyes how much that really, really helps as well.
Yeah, definitely. Quality over quantity.
Yes, absolutely.
And then just another point on that as well, like, what were your reservations about sort of like working with us? Because what we find, and you probably found this yourself, like a lot of women have been exposed to a lot of things, and also a lot of these diets they've done have failed them. So what were your reservations about some of the things that we were saying that we could do with you? Was there like a bit of, was there a bit of fear, a bit of like, I'm not sure this is going to work for me, that kind of thing?
And sorry, Sarah, can I just add to that question? Like, also as well, me and Rob are obviously two men. Some females might not necessarily feel comfortable working with men over such a sensitive subject as their weight loss. So how did you find that kind of approach in that?
I actually didn't really bother me as much as I thought it would do. I think in the past I've in the gym I've always gone to like a female gym instructor. But this time it kind of, I think because I knew that you'd worked with women in the past, and a lot of women, it eased my nerves and expectations then from the outset. So no, that's been really good actually. And then I think, I think reservations was just, obviously it's quite a lot of money to join the 12-week group. So was it going to be money well spent, or was it going to be ending up in another cycle of stuff that you get told and it doesn't really work? And it was just that reservation, whereas actually the coaching has just been fantastic, from being like on the WhatsApp group to the weekly calls to everything. It's it's just been really supportive, more than I imagined it would be at the start. So it's fantastic.
Amazing. And so total weight loss across the 12 weeks, just to reinforce it, how much weight did you lose over the 12 weeks?
20 pounds.
20 pounds in weight loss.
Amazing.
Yeah. Just in time for summer as well.
I know.
And when was the last time you'd lost that kind of weight, Sarah, in such a sustainable way?
I reckon that's probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It's, and I think, when I've lost weight like that before, it's just, you kind of always, I think what's been nice about this time is I remember when I did lose weight, that sort of weight before, and it was always about trying to lose more and more and staying on the program for longer, so that you're always sucked in. Whereas this time it's the talk about maintenance and maintaining this weight rather than just constantly losing has just been so refreshing.
Yeah, I think that's a really great point actually, because I think a lot of women, and we spoke about this, didn't we, Sarah, the other day, like a lot of women and men, it must be said, but obviously we work with women, so a lot of women have this thought of dieting like all year, and they never really get anywhere within that year. Whereas obviously what me and Chris do is say within 12 weeks, we're going to get you to this place. And then after 12 weeks, you probably won't actually need us anymore. And I think that's really key, isn't it? So rather than having that whole year process where you don't really drop any weight, just having that full focus and support, accountability, network there to actually get you to where you want to get to.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. So
So anyone that's sort of sat on the fence, maybe they follow us on social media, maybe the investment of time, money and energy is something that they kind of feel a bit like, I don't know whether that's for me. What would you say to them if they want to,
honestly, if you are at your wit's end and haven't have tried everything else, just really invest. I would go through it all again, and I definitely feel like it's a change of lifestyle for me. And to have done the majority of it while we've been in lockdown as well has just been unbelievable. So yeah, it's just.
Well, I think that's it, isn't it? A full. I think it's 8 weeks of the 12, or it might even be 9 of the 12. We did on lockdown. So it just goes to show that when you control all these different things, have the accountability, have the support, have the education that goes with it, then really the gym is obviously something, but it's only the very tip of the iceberg compared to what you can do. So
definitely, yeah, and it's not. I've not had to buy much equipment in terms of to be able to do the workouts at home either. It's only been a few key pieces, which it's been fantastic, really.
Awesome. Anything you want to wrap up on that, Chris? I think that's pretty much.
I just think from Sarah's story, because when we speak to women who are on the fence, what Sarah's saying there is that she spent so long and then looking for the right solution, and you almost slip into this idea that nothing will ever work for you. And I just think from what Sarah said there, I don't know, it sounds a bit cheesy, but for women watching, really, you shouldn't give up hope that something will work. And as Sarah suggested, you just need that right structure, that right framework. And like Sarah, you've done amazing. The weight loss you've had has been incredible. So I just want to say well done to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Awesome.
Thank you.